Yo, 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 welcome back to another episode of Texas Underground. I am your host, Jay Vaz. And as always, make sure you follow us on all the social media pages at the Jay Vaz Show. Jay Vaz Show. Check out the website, thejvazshow.com. Shouts out to the sponsors, La Conecta, shoplaconecta.com. We got the rolling trays. We got the Cut energy drinks, para que andes al 100. We got the air fresheners. Man, they got all kinds of cool stuff. We got stickers with different characters on them. Make sure you check them out at shoplaconecta.com. Also brought to you by GT Music Distribution. If you're an independent artist looking to take your music to the next level, make sure you check out www.gtdigitaldistribution.com and they'll help you take your music there. Joining us today, man, we got a special guest joining us, and I told you on the phone, bro, it's something that I've been looking forward to because I follow you on Facebook, I follow you on Instagram, and I like the message that you're pushing, bro, and selfishly, like I told you, I got my struggles with belief, and I was looking forward to this conversation with you today so that we can get into that topic and just, selfishly see how it can help me and help anybody else that's watching, and hopefully we can do that today. Joining us today, man, Southeast legend, Southeast, correct? Southeast. Sambo, what's up, man?
Born, bred, and raised Southeast.
It's
all good, man. Just glad to be here tonight, man, to be able to get on this platform and share what I got to give, to the people, and hopefully, man, I can plant some seeds and give some things to the people to give them something to think about.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's like I said, that's what I'm looking forward to, and hopefully we can do that on this episode today. Just to give people a quick background, you are from the Southeast. We're not gonna get into too much detail on the things, but we are gonna emphasize the fact that you were gone for 30 years. You were locked up for 30 years. What year was it that you got 2003?
2003 when I got out.
Yeah.
2003 when I got out.
When you went in?
No, I went in the 90s.
In the 90s? Yeah. You got out in 2003?
No, I got out in 2022. I've been out about 14 months, 15 months. Yeah.
Okay. I got my ears all fucked up. I was like, I was like 20, 30 years, not 20. I was thinking 20. That's what it was, yeah. All right, man, so being locked up for 30 years, it has to have its toll on you mentally. Can we talk about your first day in there? Just talk about the first year as a whole. How was that for you mentally? And at what point did your brain start to shift to being in a positive way? Like, you know what? Roll with it.
Prison is a microcosm of what goes on out here in society. Whatever goes on out here is compounded and magnified in there. But in prison, you don't have no guns in prison. So it's straight up. You can't bar nothing. You got to fade everything that comes your way. When I went to the penitentiary, the gang wars were totally out of control amongst the raza. You had the TS, you had the MA, you had the RU, you had the pistoleros. And when I got there, they had already begun to implement the peace treaty, the sindicato and the MA. So when I got there, it was everybody was still in war mode, in combat mode. Nobody knew if somebody was going to get killed that day or if a riot was going to start, but they were working on the peace process at that time. So when I got there, I was they were referred to as a Solano when I got there. So, they were doing what they were doing, and brothers like me who were Solano, we were in the backdrop, because we were on edge too, because we didn't know what was going on, because a lot of that culture right there, we were part of the new culture, the rap music, the hip hop culture. And in prison, it was more chicanismo, more lowrider, more pachuco type, cultura in there. But when I got in there, it was like, it's time for the new generation. We're here, and we're going to do what we have to do. We have our own way of doing things. They have their way of doing things. But one thing was for certain, in order for us to coexist, there was only one way for that to happen. We had to solidify our position on our side, and you have to go to war. That's just how it is. Nobody can just come up in there at that particular time and just, do their time on their own. That right there was non-existent.
Yeah. Man, how was that for you mentally, bro? Because, and again, this is me nowhere close to being locked up, but as I was telling you, I was trying to work at the correctional facility, And for the time that I was there, in my head, I was like, bro, working here, I'm basically one of these kids, like inmate, like one of these kids. There's no connection to the outside world, no cell phones. It was crazy to me. And I can't even begin to imagine what it would feel like to have that long of a sentence, like, man, 30 years.
But it was life or death, bro. That's just basically what it was. What happened with me was though I had came from the free world. I was already out here on the streets putting in work. You know, I was out here living and dying by the gun when I went to prison. So my mind already, that street mentality that causes so many of us to wind up in prison or wind up dead before our time, that's who I was. I propagated and promoted that lifestyle, that do or die lifestyle, you know, and I receive what comes with it, the consequences. You get locked up and it is what it is,
Yeah.
you know.
Um, when you first, well, let me ask you this: were you always like a spiritual person, or was this something that started to happen when you were in there?
You know, as most people know, you know, unapologetically, man, I'm a Christian. I'm a devout Christian. You know, I labor for the kingdom all day, every day, because when I committed my life to Jesus, even though I was incarcerated, He set me free. You know, and through my walk, my transformation came. You know, and it's taken a lot. I'm not perfect, homie. You know,
Yeah,
by any you know definition of the word, I'm not perfect. I'm just a individual that been through some very, very, very trying times in my life. And when I cried out for God, man, He was there to pick me up and put me on solid ground. But I have to put in the work just like anything else in this world that we
yeah,
want out of life, you know, that's meaningful. And that's what I've done. But you know, for the vast majority of my time, you know, I was serving the devil basically. I was an instrument of death, destruction, violence, you name it. That's what I promoted. That's what I did at the highest level, you know. And you know, when I began to when I reached that threshold, that crossroad, you know, it's like you wake up one day and you have that awe moment, like, you know, I'm right here. I've reached this pinnacle point, and it's like, what am I doing? I'm killing my own people. You know, I'm destroying my own community. I'm keeping more of my people down than I am uplifting them. So, you know, just I don't know about most people, but me, you know, I'm the type of person that if you tell me something, you got to show me. You know, you got to turn me into a believer, in other words, because that's the type of person I was. I'm going to show up, I'm going to show out, and I'm going to let it be known who I am, you know, when I was in the game. So basically, that's what happened to me. You're in solitary, you're in SEG. The only thing they let you have is your Bible or some religious material. So I was reading my Bible one day, and it's like, okay, well, God promises you all these things. You're more than a conqueror for those that are in Christ Jesus. No weapon formed against you shall prosper, and all these other scriptures. So I began to stand on them. It's like, okay, God, you say it's real. Show me then. Show me it's real, and I'm gonna commit my life to you. Because if this piece of paper right here can transform my life after all the books I done read throughout my incarceration, and it didn't change me, I grew worse reading this other literature. And when I began to fully submit myself to the Word of God, God began to show up. I was never supposed to get out of prison, homie. Never. I was never supposed to get out of prison. I was supposed to die in prison. But when I fully, fully became obedient, God opened that door for me. That's why I'm out here right now. I was supposed to die in there, bro,
yeah,
period. You know, if I wasn't going to die by the system, I was going to die by my enemies because of all the work that I had put in.
man. And let me ask you something, bro. Because every time I hear somebody talk about when they found God, they talk about like this moment in their life where they heard a whisper or something. Like, what was that like for you? Like, at what point or what did you feel when you were like, okay, God is answering my prayers? Like,
It was a bit emotional, but it wasn't the spiritual aspect. The emotional aspect was like, you know, I've dedicated my life to this particular lifestyle for over 30, 40 years. And now I got to try something new. I'm venturing out into uncharted territory, right? But the Bible tells me that God didn't give me a spirit of fear, but of power and of a sound mind. I remember I used to be in prison and guys would come in and they would share their testimony. Man, I had 1,000 years and God opened the gates for me. He brought me home. You know, and I would hear these testimonies and hear these testimonies. And I was like, okay, well, let me see if God brings me home. And then when I began to stand on it and say, I know he's going to bring me home, the emotional aspect came from he been showing up and performing for me all this time because I should have been dead a long time ago, homie. I should have been on death row. I should have been dead. I should have 5,000 years, right, for all the stuff that I did in my life. And he started performing, started letting me know that he was real. The Bible says that he's the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. And he was showing up. So the emotional aspect came when I knew he was going to get me out of prison. When I knew he was going to allow me to reconcile with my family. When he was going to allow me to come out here and testify to the world what he had did for me in my life. I'm not so spiritual that I'm not practical anymore. For
Correct.
anybody like you that knows, that follows me, I interact with everybody. You see, my position is to show people that even though as a Christian, I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to Bible thump and beat you over the head with the Bible. I'm here to convey my message through my actions because I'm going to accept you for who you are. So accept me for who I am. I'm not going to judge you, so don't judge me.
Yeah.
But we can work together for the common good of the people, right? We can build a better world for the generations to come if we learn how to coexist with one another. A lot of people, bro, that like we were talking a while ago, they promote and propagate a certain lifestyle, right? But if we know what the consequences are, then why would I want to be on this side as opposed to this side? Why do I want to send my people to prison or send my people to an early grave when I can help them get an education? I can help them get some spiritual renewal. I can help them get a good job. I can keep them out here for as long as their physical life allows them to live out their life in totality, to see everything that God has for them, right here in the flesh. But my situation was different when I was a kid. I was born into it.
Yeah.
I didn't have two parents. I didn't have the social and economic pieces to my puzzle to help me get where I wanted to be in life. It was given to me, you know. But now I use my influence instead of in a negative way, I use it in a positive way because, you know, why would I rather be part of the problem as opposed to part of the solution? That's a thinking error, right?
Correct.
If I say I'm gonna rise up tonight and I'm gonna ride down on my ops, I'm gonna smoke them, and if their mom's in the way, their kids are in the way, they gonna get it too. That's not rational thinking, homie. That's a twisted way of thinking because we all have a God given potential to be more than what we are today. It's just that sometimes we don't have that example. So all I'm trying to do right now is be that example. I work with kids every day,
Yeah.
all throughout the whole city of Houston, man. The other day, a 7-year-old, I told him, I said, I'll be back next week. I'm gonna bring you some juices and some chips and stuff so you can have some food at home. But you gotta bring me your homework so I can check it. He said, but Mr. Sam, what if I wind up dead before next week? Can you go get the stuff now? This is a 7-year-old talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that, in all honesty, homie, I think that we done lost enough, right? And I don't knock nobody for what they do. Just be man enough to accept the consequences of your actions. I pled guilty to a murder I didn't even do, homie. That's how I got my recognition on the streets because those brothers that were riding with me in the beginning, they know who did it and what went down and what transpired. I didn't do it. I didn't pull the trigger, homie, but I pled guilty to it because I stuck to the G code, right? How many people today that's gonna go to the penitentiary for 30 years, 40 years
Hell nah.
for a murder they didn't do, right? So, and I don't use that as a badge of honor, homie. It's just it is what it is. It was what it was at that particular time period, right? But that's just a chapter in my life. But the last chapter of my life hasn't been written. So that's why I continue to do what I do now, bro. I'm investing in the kids. That's what I'm doing. And for anybody else in an older age bracket that wants to get on and do it the right way, I can show you how to do it. If I can't do it, then I got resources all throughout the whole city to help you get where you want to be in life. You know, I was at Middle College the other day talking to a bunch of kids, man, over there off of Gulfton, the Southwest, and statistically, that's the most crime ridden part of Houston, Texas. And I asked the kids, man, why do you feel you need to have access to this high power weaponry? And they said, man, because you know, I don't feel safe. And they all want it for protection, right? So how does it a 13-year-old, a 12-year-old, right, who's in middle school how is it acceptable to us as a community? I'm talking about from politicians to entertainers to business owners to regular people on the block, even to the dope boys, because there used to be rules to the game, right? There used to be rules. There's no rules to the game now. Everybody's getting it now, right? But how is it acceptable, homie, that a 10, 11, 12, 13-year old is telling me that they don't feel safe in their own community, that they got to strap up with the extendo or the Draco at 10, 11, 12 years old because they don't know if they're going to get killed on their way to school or while they're at school or on their way home or while they're in their neighborhood, right? And me, as a man, as a father, and as a husband, as a grandfather, I understand what goes on in terms of the social and economic issues that go on, right? What causes us to live in that particular mindset. But at some point, after 30 or 40 years, bro, because when I got in the gangs were relatively new in the city of Houston, right? So after 20, 30, 40 years, 50 years, don't you think that we done lost enough, homie? Enough innocent bystanders, enough kids, enough victims of violent crime, the women. People don't even come outside and play no more because they
Yeah.
don't feel safe, you know? And there used to be rules to the game, man. You know, and nowadays I see it. You know, I see the clips, the news feeds, and there's no rules anymore, man. The 70-year-old, I seen a video the other day where an old man was pushing his little cart selling some paletas, and some brothers jumped out from a truck and robbed him and took
Like
him of his little old
pocket.
change, right?
Yeah.
You know, so how can you tell me you're a proud Houstonian or you're a representative of your neighborhood and you don't even protect your own people, homie? You know, that street mentality, bro. I mean, you mix that with some corporate mentality, you mix that with some education, and then you become a boss, homie. That's just how it is, bro. We go through our stages and our phases in life, right? We all do, man.
Yeah.
We got to grow through it to go to it, man, to get to where we want to be in life. And you know, like I said, I understand, bro. Some people they don't have money to put food on the table. I understand that. I know some people, mama's struggling, and they got to help their mother, they got to help their siblings, and they got to do what they got to do just to put food on the table. And I understand that. But I want everybody to know that there's a better way. I could have came home, made a couple phone calls. My boys are on speed dial in Michoacan, the people that I was working with before I got locked up. Anything I ask them for, anything I want them to do for me, they coming, bro. It don't matter what it is. Cause I took the fall for these brothers, man, on my Fed cases, you know. But I didn't do that, homie. I'm gonna come home and preach. I came home and I'm gonna preach a message of peace and prosperity and let people know what Jesus did for me in my life and what he can do for them in their lives, bro.
Yeah.
Now, I don't walk around here like I'm just sanctified and I'm holier than thou because I'll sit on the corner with anybody. He could be sitting there smoking a blunt, drinking, whatever. I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna chop it up with him. And if he needs help paying his rent, need to help food put on the table, then that's what we do at my church. That's what we do, man. The brothers that I roll with, right? But I'm not here to judge nobody. I don't think I'm better than nobody, homie. Didn't nobody do that 30 years with me in that prison cell, bro, when that heat was almost 200 degrees, or when the laws was starving me to death, or I was in the middle of them riots. It wasn't nobody right there with me but Jesus, bro. He's the one who got me through it, you
Yeah.
know? No, outside of that, my wife, a couple of friends, my family, yeah, they were there for me. But I'm talking about actually waking up and being in the middle of it all every day, all day,
Yeah.
you know?
Man, let me ask you this. So you say you work with the youth all around Houston, and as I mentioned to you, I started slightly doing that as well. And one thing I saw a pattern, and this is just a question in how can we do better, right? As a whole, not you and me individually, but as a whole. And one thing that I noticed was the pattern was a lot of these kids, over 90% of the kids at Giddings are like come from a broken home.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems as if that's the reason they don't get, I don't know, the correct parenting or advising or whatever you want to call it. I don't know the right term for it. How can we do better as a whole to be able to help these kids? Because at the end of the day, obviously, some of them, their mentality is, well, you're not my parent, you're not my mom, you're not my dad.
And this is not to knock nobody, homie, but reality is reality, right? Facts are facts. Um, we have a lack of real men in this world. You know, since I've been home, I noticed that a lot of men, well, I'll say males, right? They got, they got, and I have no other way to say it, bro. And excuse my language. They got whole like tendencies. In the penitentiary, they'd be wearing Kool-Aid for lipstick, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hear I read some of the messages online. I see some of the hate. I see, but all the while, man, your kid don't have no food on the table. He don't have no father figure at home. He don't have a mentor or somebody there. Cause I got a son, bro. So I left my son out here to grow up on his own, and that's what happened to me. I had to become a man before my time because my dad, he was a heroin addict. He died in the penitentiary in 1994. But as a man, right, my primary responsibility is my household. Okay, my kids, my wife, my household. My primary responsibility is not my homeboys or my neighborhood or my block. So I mean, however people feel that but the results are right here. They're evident, homie. Most of us grow up in broken homes. Broken homes create broken people. That's just what it is. But if we were to raise our children the right way, right, which is we need to be present, we need to be personable, we need to be right there at all times, you know, our children have a better chance of not being distracted or sidestepped by what these things, what the world has to offer them, homie. You know, in prison, this is the truth, man. You either a man or you're a hoe, bro. That's just how it is. God
Yeah.
forgive me, excuse my language. You are who you are, or you not. And this is what allowed me to survive so long in prison. And it wasn't just the work that I put in, because that I don't glorify that, but I minded my own business and I respected other people. But out here in the free world, it don't operate like that.
Yeah.
How are you gonna be in my business and you don't even know what your kid is doing or what your child is doing online? How are you gonna be in my business and your baby mama don't even have no food to put in the refrigerator? And I'm not, it is what it is, bro. But I'm not gonna cut no corners with nobody, because when it comes to being a man, we need to stand up and we need to step out. God created us as the head and not the tail. We're the protector and we're the provider, homie. You know, to me, bro, it's like, you know, it's very plain and it's very simple, homie. You take care of your household. You take care of your family, man. You ain't got time to worry about me or him or you if you taking care of your personal responsibilities at
Yeah.
home. So to the fathers that are out there taking care of their business, and to the men that are out there taking care of their business, or the women that are out there taking care of their business, I commend them. I commend them wholeheartedly, bro, with everything inside of me. But it's okay. That's why I got so many at-risk youth that I work with, because some of them are in foster care, homie. Some of them, they don't have no parental figures at all,
Yeah.
period. So I would encourage everybody. And I'm not knocking nobody, because a bunch of us didn't have that example. So we don't know what a father is, right?
Yeah.
We don't know what a father is. We don't know what a friend is, right? We don't know what that is. So I encourage everybody, if you have kids, step your game up, homie. Step your game up and be part of the solutions as opposed to part of the problem. Encourage, the youth to believe in their dreams and their aspirations, and show them that there is a better way out. Show them that they have the ability to be more than what they are today. But we have to be that example, because a mouth to say anything. So that's what I'm trying to do, bro. I'm just trying to be that example. And whoever wants to ride with me to help invest in the youth, let's go. I'm ready. And I
Yeah.
partner with people all over the city, from rappers to trappers to city council members. It don't matter who you are. If you want to come to the table and you want to contribute, lowrider clubs, radio personalities, they all sit at the table with us, bro.
Yeah.
Clergy, faith-based leaders, law enforcement, parole people, juvenile court judges, whatever. Whoever you are, at this table that I sit at, everybody's voice is valid and it's gonna be heard, man. And we're
Yeah.
talking about being solutions based and impact driven at all costs on all levels, homie. Whether it's financial literacy, whether it's education, vocational training, transportation, clothing, housing, food, whatever we can do to make your situation better, whether it's economically, whether it's spiritually, educationally, we gonna step up in there. We gonna make it happen, homie. Because the brothers that I roll with, the people that sit at the table that I sit at, we're all about bringing about solutions,
Yeah.
homie. Anybody outside that's creating noise and static, that right there is irrelevant, homie. It has no significance whatsoever. That's all it is noise, man. Because we trying to make the world a better place and our communities a safer place, so that our children can grow up and they can flourish. You know, We done lost too much, homie.
Yeah.
We done lost too much, bro. And if people don't see it for what it is, then they'll never get it. You know, to me, you know, it's a sad, harsh reality when you know the truth and you don't act upon it like you're supposed to. I mean, like, look at you right here, bro. You got your operation going. You believed in your dreams. People helped you along the way, and it came into fruition, right?
Yeah.
The same thing with me. We can't do it on our own, homie. But if your message is negative and you creating negativity, conflict, confusion, and being decisive and creating dissension, you know, you don't have a place in my world. I'll respect you from a distance. And if you ever need some help, we're gonna come through. We're gonna come through, man. I mean, look at Trey with the relief gang.
The
You
relief
know, he's
game.
out here
Yeah.
doing his thing. You know, you got other brothers, man. Look at the Wolfpack. They go out there and they do toy drives and give away bicycles and turkeys in their neighborhoods, right? So we all have a personal responsibility, homie, to get out here and get involved and realize one thing, that there's people that are following in our footsteps. And the greatest investment we'll ever make is in another human being, homie. More so the youth, because they're the future,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, for sure. That's one thing that I try to, you know, with my nephews and them, because at the end of the day, like you said, they are the future, and whatever wasn't given to me for whatever reason, I try to make that path easier for them, because we are in a better situation now that than our parents were when I was their age and whatnot. Man, let's talk about the you went in the '90s, came out last year. You said 14 months ago. What was that like, man? Because it had to be a completely different world. What was your thought process when you came out and it's a crazy ass after COVID life?
Out here, everybody moves too fast, homie. Nobody takes time to really just absorb life anymore. Everybody's on their phone, man. Everybody's moving. There's so many different options, and you go through Walmart, it's like being stuck in traffic during in traffic hour on I-45, right? So you rolling through the store, man, and it's just like, get out the way. I gotta go. You're in the morning. I gotta go. And for what? To get stuck in traffic? One of the things that prison taught me, man, was to really embrace life. When I began to grow in my walk with Christ, you know, I realized that I'm only going to be here for only a certain amount of time. I'm only going to be here for a certain amount of time. You're only going to be here biologically for a certain amount of time. And we have to make the most of it, homie. We have to make the most of it, because life is really, it's all about living.
Yeah,
It's not about dying, but we have a tendency of chasing death or chasing things that are really insignificant, that have no merit, no bearing, and we deplete our resources, our energy, our stress level just rises because we're focusing on all the wrong things as opposed to all the right things. My list is real simple: faith, family, my little financial situation, in the future, bro. It's real simple, man. 4 pillars, bro, that I
yeah,
stand on, because if you complicate it and you don't stick to the basics, your stress level, your depression, your frustration, it's gonna take you overboard. And then we do certain things that we don't want to do because we have these certain coping mechanisms. We'll start drinking too much,
yeah,
start drinking, smoking too much. We start womanizing. We start popping pills. We start getting lost, man. It's like we're traveling through an invisible maze, right? There's a scripture in the Bible, and I always quote it. It says, Jesus came to set the captives free. You know, and if you really, really, really want to be free, see, I was in prison for 30 years. I did 11 years in administrative segregation, and I wanted to be free, homie. And there's a lot of us in this world, we're dealing with issues. We don't know how to break free,
yeah,
but Jesus set me free. And I know that he set a bunch of other brothers and sisters that I'm around free from addiction, mental illness, bad relationships, financial situations, bro. I know Christian brothers that have gotten out of prison. They're multimillionaires now, bro. I know brothers that were addicted to narcotics, to drugs, overdosed in the parking lot of the church, bro. And now they're co-pastors, man. They give away hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of non-perishable items every month, man.
yeah,
So the proof is there. So I mean, I'm a realist. I live by faith, but I'm a realist because God has already proven to me that He's real. You know, so while I'm here on this earth, I'm gonna enjoy life, homie.
Yeah.
You know, I don't take it for granted. When I came home, you know, I had the blessing of working at a free world hospital before I got out because, you know, I do murals also. I do a bunch of painting and
Yeah.
murals. So I was commissioned to paint 300 murals in these hospital rooms where there's inmates in there that haven't been out to bed in 10, 15 years because they either got shot by a police officer, they had a wreck when they were fleeing from them, they got cancer, whatever the case may be, but they're in the bed, they can't move. So I put these murals all over the walls in there, bro. So I was interacting with free world people on a professional level. So it tightened up my communication skills. It taught me how to socially interact with people on a professional level. Cause I wasn't one of them guys that took it for granted. I
Yeah.
used it. I'm a student of the game to the day that I die, and I understand that in order to be a good leader, you have to be a great student. So I would see these doctors, these administrators, and all these people. You know, how they acted, how they worked, how they went to school, and you know, even though I got on prison whites, I'm in the free world, so
Yeah.
I had to step my game up. Homie, see, when I came home, you know, I don't wear my prison sentence or my former lifestyle as a gangster as a badge of honor. My greatest title is man of God, father, and husband. That's the title that I bear, right? So when I came home or when I was working in that environment, I didn't want nobody to see prison on me at all, other than my tattoos. You know, I work for the mayor of Houston now. You know, I'm around a bunch of people that have master's degrees and PhDs and run the whole city apparatus. So God prepared me while I was incarcerated. So that way, when I came home, I knew how to socially interact on a professional level with these people. You know, I mean, Jesus set me free while I was locked up, bro. So when I came home, you know, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't womanize, I don't do none of them things, bro. I had them temptations in prison and I dealt with them while I was locked up, you know, because you have to prepare yourself, you have to be proactive. And I came home with a plan, which was God's plan for my life. And that's what I'm executing right now with the
Yeah.
book, with the podcast, with the ministry work that I'm doing. So I don't have time for no distractions. I don't have no time for no sideline, soap opera stuff or anything like that. My focus is primarily on enjoying everything that we have accessible to us. Right? Have you been to Walmart lately? Have you seen the assortment
I
of
haven't been. I was like, damn. When's the
have,
last time I went to
have
Walmart?
you seen the assortment of drinks and cereal and food and I just want to enjoy life, bro. I
Yeah.
went to prison for 30 years for a murder I didn't do. I could have came home been mad at the world, homie. I could have been out here, man, just pissed off and mad at everybody. But nah, that I'm not gonna come out here and be worse than I was when I went to prison.
Yeah.
And a lot of people they do that, homie. They don't deal with their issues while they're incarcerated. And there's a lot of brothers that do though, that have come out here and become very, very prosperous and very, very productive. But it breaks my heart, homie, because man, you know how many of our homeboys done died? How many of our people done died? I mean, let's be real. Black and brown people have died, have gone to prison, that have, X, Y, and Z, bro. And it still goes on today, man. And you know, I'm tired of burying people, bro. I
Yeah.
got the people that I write that's incarcerated, bro. I got a whole list, like 30 people that I write in prison, bro, and send money to. And I just got home from prison, man. Because I can't never forget, homie.
Yeah.
Being in that cell in that 150, 160-degree temperature, sleeping on the floor in the water, bro. And the water's so hot because the concrete is so hot, bro. Sleeping in your boxers at night with 3 fans on you, just trying to breathe like you breathing through a dryer, a hair dryer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I suffered a lot, homie. I ain't gonna lie to you. I suffered a lot, bro, while I was incarcerated. And all praises be to God, man, for getting me through it, bro. That's why I feel so obligated to Him to do the things that I need to do to glorify Him with
Yeah.
my lifestyle, homie. And like I said, I don't think I'm better than nobody. If people ask me, what happened to you? You know, man, how did you make these positive changes? And then I'll share with them my testimony. But other than that, I let my actions speak
Speak
louder
for
than
themselves.
words,
Yeah.
man. And God has given me a beautiful family, bro. I got a beautiful home, beautiful vehicles, beautiful life, man. I mean, I make good money, homie. I'm respected by most people. You always have your haters, but people who know the truth that have rolled with me, like the brother that came tonight. with us. You know, he did 10 years with me, side by side on the front lines, putting in work, bro. So he understands and knows, and he's changed his life as well. So, you know, it's like I'm gonna let my actions speak louder than words, man. When I'm at these schools and I got 30 or 40 young men and young women that are counting on me to bring them something to eat because they don't have nothing to eat at the house. That's who I'm worried about, homie. When I get home, I got to make sure that me and my wife are good, me and my daughter are good, me and my grandkids are good. You know, I got to make sure I got to take care. That's my primary ministry, but I got to be reflective of everything that I profess, man.
Yeah, man. Something you said that really caught my attention was that out here we live so fast that we don't appreciate the moment, and it's something that happened to me. Um, let's say about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I was so focused on myself. I still had both my parents at the time, um, real close to my family and everything. Everything's good. But instead of trying to appreciate the fact that I had my parents, my family, it was always on trying to. I don't even know what I was chasing, to be honest. But it was all about me. And then, unfortunately, my dad passed 2 years ago. And from that moment that my dad passed, it kind of it changed my perspective on things. From the moment that for how do I say this? I mean, I'm just gonna say how it was. From the moment I saw him took his last breath, I realized how at that moment I wasn't selfish anymore.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
You know, life is temporary. Life is temporary. You know, and you know, I always encourage people that do have their parents or do have family members. You know, you make amends, you reconcile, you put in the work that you have to put in. You water the garden, in other words,
yeah,
because it's an ecosystem of life, man. And sometimes we have differences and we don't know how to put them aside, or sometimes we hold grudges, or sometimes, bro, it's just like the prodigal son in the Bible. We go off and do our own thing, and we don't know if we can come back.
yeah,
But you have to cherish every moment, man. You know, one of the hardest things for me while I was incarcerated was watching my mother grow old, because she didn't come every weekend. So she might come this year, and I might not see her till 2 years from now. Then I might not see her for another 3 years, because I might be in a situation, I might be in SEG, I might have stabbed somebody or was in a riot, and I don't want her to see me in that cage, chained up, locked down. So I might see her in 4 years. And then you start watching her age. And then our mothers got to be strong because they don't want you worrying and
yeah,
you tripping, or our fathers. But mom has to scrape up a little bit of change to put money on your books, or she has to work 2 or 3 jobs to put food on the table. And we don't recognize it, homie, because we accept it as the norm, and it's not the norm, bro. The norm is that we have to operate in a cohesive factor. As a family unit, we have to work together for the family, right? And I watch my mother get old and older and older, or I watch my wife come year after year, weekend after weekend, or watch my daughter grow up and older, you know, and then they leave visitation. It's over with. 2 hours, hey, it's up. One little kiss, go, you gotta go. And there's brothers, man, that like this particular brother that's with us tonight, he lost his mom while he was incarcerated. You know, so you have to cherish every moment. That's why, my motto is real simple. You chase life, you don't chase death. You know, it's real simple, man.
yeah,
And I make it a point to go spend time with my mother as much as possible. I call her every day because I know, God, God willing, she has many more years to live on this earth. But the day's gonna come where she's not gonna be here no more, bro. My dad, I
yeah,
never had a father. I'm a product of my environment. I'm a product of what's going on around the world when it comes to inner city youth. My dad was a heroin addict. I didn't know nothing about him, other than he died in prison, and he died at 42 years old because he chose drugs and alcohol over his own family, over his own life. And I accept it. A matter of fact, I'm about to go get his body exhumed and give him a proper burial because he's buried in the TDCJ cemetery, Boot Hill in Huntsville. um So I want to give them that respect and show them that honor, and it's
Yeah.
closure for me as well as a man of God and as a mature man to do the right thing and not to hold no grudges.
Yeah.
I got to learn how to process it, deal with it, find closure, and move on. But you have to, bro. I come home now, and when I get off of work, some days I work 20 hours, bro. Some days I work 24 hours, man. Some days I work 2 or 3 days straight to try to provide for my family. I work at the office at City Hall, the annex building, and then I'll come home and I'll do some murals, some tattoos, paint some houses, whatever I got to do to take care of my family.
Yeah.
But when the time comes, I'll sit down at the table and drink me a shot of coffee. I'll sit back and I'll reflect and I'll think, man, and just thank God for another day. And I think that we're moving too fast as a people. Even though we say we're the chopped and screwed city, that
Yeah.
everything we do slowed and chopped up, but we really moving too fast, man,
Yeah.
because I always ask, a lot of the kids, that I work with, when was the last time your father took you to a basketball game? Or when was the last time your dad, took you for a walk or took you out, And a bunch of them, man, they can't even remember, homie. Because we're so busy trying to pay bills. We're so busy trying to hustle. We got 2 or 3 females, 2 or 3 kids in 2 or 3 different locations. So it's very imperative, homie, that we take the time out to really, truly, truly embrace life and embrace the people that are within our sphere of influence, man.
Yeah.
And as me coming home, man, my family, you know, I've always been about family. Even though I didn't have a family, I realized, man, when I was locked up that the value of it. And we need to understand the value of it, homie. If you got time, anybody that's listening right now, you got time to go spend with your people, go spend that time with them.
Yeah.
Don't take it for granted because they're not going to be here forever, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's the cold truth. We all our time is borrowed. All of us. So yeah, that's one thing that I try to preach to my. I got my mom living with me, and I try to tell my sisters. One of my sisters like, well, I feel weird going to visit and dad's not there. It's like, yeah, but mom is.
Amen.
You know what I mean? Like dad's gone now, but mom's still here. So don't let that, 10 years from now, mom's not here, and you're gonna be like, well, I feel weird because mom's not. Well, she could have came when she was.
Me and my mom, we do have a beef though, man. I've been trying to find closure with it, right? Because I asked her the other day, I said, Mom, you got to make me a couple dozen of tortillas, right? You got to make me some tortillas, man.
Yeah.
She's like, Mijo, I love you, but I get my tortillas from HEB now,
Yeah.
right? So we trying to get through that little issue right there, bro. We trying to get through that little issue right there, man.
The
And
homemade tortilla.
you know, I hate the all the problems, man, that I brought to my mother, man. Getting our house shot up, um, you know, just living the life that I lived as a gangster, bro, and all the hardships that I brought on her. Her not knowing if I'm gonna live or I'm gonna die. While she's working 2 or 3 jobs to put food on the table because my father wasn't man enough to take care of his responsibilities. But I'm out here running the streets thinking the materialistic things are gonna make up for the stress. And so when I got locked up, my mom told me, she said, "Well, at least me, I know where you're at. I know where you're at, you know, and now, I just got off the phone with her earlier. She wants to go to lunch tomorrow, and I think that there's nothing in the world that I can do to make up for all the pain that I caused her.
Yeah.
Because a mother, when you're born, when you're conceived, what's the first thing they do when they cut the umbilical cord? They give the child to the mother, right? They give it
Yeah.
to her into her arms, and I know that every mother wants to provide a better situation for their child. They all want that. Man, I'm gonna do better and provide a better way for my child. I want them to go on and do great things. And next thing you know, she's watching you in the courtroom, or she's burying you, or she don't know if you're gonna live or die tonight when you're out on the streets, right? So I think that I owe it to my mother, and I think that we all do to if we've lived through the game or we're in the game now and we have a way out, to give her that gift, homie. Or our fathers, because there's single fathers out there that are
Yeah.
handling their business as well, man. And I salute them brothers, man, because I know it's not easy, you know. So I think we owe that, to our parents, homie. And the only thing that I've ever wanted to do was to make my mother proud. And I've been able to do that. She seen me on stage giving my testimony. She sees my podcast. She sees what I'm doing out here in the city now. And you know what she tells me now? She said, "Mijo, I can sleep now. I can go to heaven now. I can leave this earth now knowing that you're doing the right thing, that you're living the right way. Because when we fail, our parents think that they failed.
Yeah.
They think like the jefa or the jefito, he might say, man, I didn't do enough. It was my economic situation, or it was because I had him with the wrong man, or I separated, went through divorce, that my son or my daughter turned out to be a drug addict or a convict or a gangster or a jack boy, whatever the case may be. And my mother used to always do that, bro. She used to apologize to me a lot. Mijo, I'm sorry. Mijo, I'm sorry. Basically saying that I had you with the wrong man, or because I wasn't financially stable, you had to hit the streets running. But that wasn't the case. I'm man enough to accept consequences for my own actions. I don't blame nobody, homie.
Yeah.
I don't blame nobody for the former lifestyle that I used to live. But, my whole objective now is just to make her proud, homie. Before she leaves this earth, I want her to know that every sacrifice that she made, I acknowledge it through my actions, homie.
Yeah.
Just as opposed to just telling her. And my mother gave me away when I was 10 years old, homie. I hit the streets at 11, 12 years old on my own. That's how I met South Park Mexican, Grim, and Shadow, and all them. I was living homeless in abandoned buildings in Southeast Houston.
Yeah.
But they had homes. They used to play basketball in their front yard. And that's how I linked up with them. I was living in some pipes in an abandoned pipe yard, homie, like a block away from SPM's house. And over there by Reveille Park on Moline Street where Grim and Shadow used to live. And they used to feed me, let me live at their house, sleep there, until I hit the ground running, start robbing, jacking, shooting. And it took on a life of its own from there.
Yeah.
But that's how I met them brothers. And I love her no less. But I understand that at that particular point in her life, she just didn't have the capacity to take care of me like she needed to. So she had to do what she had to do, man, as a parent,
Yeah.
which was survive to take care of her other kids as well. And she just, she always told me, I just felt like you were strong enough to deal with it and take care of yourself, And that's basically what happened,
Yeah.
you know. That's basically what happened.
Man, let's talk about your audio book, bro. G Code Manifesto available on all streaming services right now. It was recorded at Manic with Manic.
Yeah, Manic Media, the genius.
Yeah.
Manic Media, the genius. I ain't never seen nobody work like him.
Yeah.
That brother right there, he'll put an album out every week if he can. He lives in that studio.
I'm in Manic, and I asked him. I said, "Hey, bro, where can I follow you on social media?" He's like, "I'm not on social media, bro. I work in the real world."
Yeah, I love that brother, man. When I came home, I had seen him and Shadow. They were out doing their own things. So I brought them together to start 311 Studios. Right?
Yeah.
We went and got a spot, put him in one room, put Shadow in the other room. So they're working collaborative together at 311 Studios. But Manic, man, him and Shadow, bro, them brothers right there have gifted the world with so much music, so many artists that they work with. We were in the studio one night. We were over there because I was doing tattoos out of the studio as well. And Manic was like, man, you know what, OG, you got a lot on your mind. Because, I just sit back. There might be, Crystal Poppin might be there, Animaze might be there, Powder might be there, whoever, J-Dog might come through or whatever. But I'm just sitting in the cut, working or whatever, doing the tattoos. And he said, man, let's get up in here, man. That night, Sam Knight was there, and a couple other brothers, his dad was there. And they were like, matter of fact, Mr. Never Die was there as well. He said, man, get up in there, bro. I'm gonna get the mic, man, get you set up and just talk about what's on your mind. I know you got a lot pent up inside of you. So we knocked out the whole project in one setting. Yeah. Bro. And he was like, you want to keep going? And we just kept going, homie. And then basically what it was a release from a lot of the pent up stuff that I had inside of me. And we have more projects coming. We have enough material for about five projects. And the reason why I called it the G Code Manifesto, and some people got it misconstrued. It's not the gang code. It's God's code. That's why I call it the G Code Manifesto.
Yeah.
That's why my podcast is the G Code with Sambo, because it's God's code, And a lot of people, they get it, twisted. Oh man, he's promoting gang lifestyle, the gang code. No, it's God's code. That's why it's called the G Code Manifesto. And if you listen to it, you'll hear a bunch of references to God. But I wasn't trying to preach to the people. I was just letting them know that no matter where you're at, no matter what you're going through, no matter what you're doing, you're gonna need God. You know, you're gonna need Him, because He's gonna have to carry you through it, or He did carry you through it. So you're either gonna acknowledge Him and accept Him, or you're just gonna realize at some point that you're gonna reach that pinnacle, that crossroad, that catalyst, and say, you know what, I can't do it without God. He did it for me.
Yeah.
You know, and that's basically what it was. And Manny got in there. He put the beats to it. He mixed it up. Man, that brother right there. And I know several producers, bro, and they're all
Yeah.
gifted. I'm not taking nothing away from none of them. But this brother's a master at his craft. He's done work with everybody and anybody, and he does it in the most humbling, humilified way. And it's the same thing with Shadow. I sit back and I watch how they move and how they operate. And like I said, when I came home, they were doing their own thing. We went out to dinner. We sat down, and I told them, "Look, man, let's just go ahead and bring y'all brothers together, and I'm gonna do everything I can to put you on a situation that benefits everybody, you know. And basically that's what we did, bro. We got a spot called 311 Studios, and Manic, he does music, he does movies, he does videos, he does photography. Shadow does the production. I mean, bro, these brothers right here, I mean, and they don't tell nobody no. It doesn't matter what your pay rate is. It doesn't matter where you're at.
Yeah.
They're doing it for the culture, bro. They're doing it for the people. I'm trying to work something out for them right now where we could set up a school environment, a curriculum, where I could get them some contracts to where they can teach. Because every school I go to, man, all the kids, they say they want to be a music producer, they want to be a rapper, they want to be a content creator, right? So I'm trying to work right now on a city level to try to get them some contracts to where, they become, city vendors, and we can contract them out, man, and get some of these kids off the street and get them into the production room and get them in the sound engineering room, and or get them on the mic, get them a project, get their dreams and bring them into reality.
Yeah.
So when we put
That'll be
that
dope.
project, yeah, we put that project together, bro. You know, and like I said, we have enough for like 5 projects, me and Manic. So in the next couple of weeks, we're gonna drop another one and another one. Then I'm just close it out because we're working on my documentary as well. Um, with We're working in collaboration with Frank Meta
Yeah.
Lopez over
Compound.
at Compound Films. He's doing the documentary. And they're coming in, they're assisting them. We're doing different still shots and B rolls, and we're putting it all together, man. Because they feel like my life story should be used as a tool to educate the masses,
Yeah.
and inspire them as well,
Yeah.
And,
For for anybody who hasn't tuned into the podcast, the G Code podcast with Sambo, um, what can they expect? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the overall message for them?
I invite everybody, bro. If you have something of substance to talk about, then your voice is going to be heard, because there's a lot of people that feel that they're segmented and their voice is not being heard. There's a lot of artists that are real, real, real good artists, bro, but they're not getting no play. They're not getting no traction. They can't get no. And what I try to do is I try to, bring them on, even if they do have some traction. Artists that do have traction, but I want the people that have some substance. I want people that have a message. Like the other day we brought on Young Easy, and that young brother right there, man. I listen to his music, and it's very emotional. It
Yeah.
draws me in. So I reached out to him. He came out. We've done had Powder. We had Never Die. We've had Low G. And we talk about all kind of different topics, bro. It's not just entertainment, but we also do education. We do empowerment, enlightenment. We just different subject matters. Schools coming up, and I know there's a lot of people that are dealing with economic situations where they can't even buy school supplies for their kids. So we're gonna kind of rally the troops and get people together, bring them on. Different people like Chicano Boulevard, they're doing school supply drives. CT Church Alameda, school supply drives. Southeast Cuts and Ink, they're doing school supply drives.
Yeah.
Perfect Choice Barbecue, they're doing school supply drive. I mean, Powerhouse Katie, they're doing school supply. It just, I want to bring a collective together to let the city know this is what we do. But next
Yeah.
week, it may be mothers that have children that are incarcerated, or wives that have a husband that's locked up, or dealing with the election that's coming up. We do it all: education, empowerment, enlightenment. We're gonna bring it to the table and let everybody have a voice. As long as you have something with substance,
Yeah.
I don't want you to get on there and just be ranting and raving about this, that, and the other. You don't have to promote your music. Your music is gonna promote itself if it's good. But I like to deal with a lot of the artists that are out here in the community that are trying to, you know, be an inspiration, because there's, like I said, the youth, they all dream about being on stage. That's hip hop and rap is the number one influencer on the planet right now
Yeah.
culturally. So I work with these artists. I work with people in the educational field. We bring everybody on. Last week, I think it was last week, we had a couple that has overcome addiction, adultery, and now they've gone on to co-minister in a church, and they're out there, man, being an example for all kind of people that have problems within their marriage. They do
Yeah.
counseling, ministry work. So my thing is to touch the people where they're at, to touch the people where they're at, but to also offer them direction, because we can sit back and we can chop it up all day long, but if we don't identify an issue and give solutions and give some directional purpose with it, then we're just sitting here entertaining ourselves, homie. So
Yeah.
it has to be something with substance. Like, you deal with a lot of artists, right? But there's a lot of people that are out there that are artists that are not getting paid off their work. So you got to get the artists to educate the people, you know, about what it means to be an actual artist that's making a profit,
Yeah.
you know, or what do you do in terms of getting more views and more subscribers, getting on more platforms, and how you make money in this area and that money in that area. Because, I always say this, bro, and all the time: where would we be without rap music? We'd have more people in prison and more people in the grave, right? But when God gives you a gift, you have to be a good steward of it. You
Yeah.
have to be a good steward of it. And if you're a good steward of it, then God's going to bring forth the increase. That's why you have a lot of brothers that have been financially successful within the realm of entertainment and hip hop,
Yeah.
They have come from the same blocks that we've come off of, and have sold the same dope and jacked and robbed and did the same things that we've done, and they've gone on to do great things, you know.
Yeah.
So let's be that example. Let's be that example, and see, just imagine, bro, seriously. We have the whole world right here. The whole world.
Literally, yeah.
The whole world. We have the whole world right here. So do I use this to educate and empower, to create stability, or do I get on here and turn this into a device to create soap operas, hate, to spread hate, jealousy, and envy? Just imagine 30 years ago, we didn't have this.
Yeah.
See, this is why I grind so hard, homie, because I understand the value, right? The podcast, the internet. I understand what you can do with it. It's a high power weapon if you use it for good. But I notice a lot of people, they use it to rant and rave and everything else, man, which is counterproductive. When we're in prison, you couldn't give us one of these, bro. You couldn't give us one of these. I travel the whole world on Google Earth, man. You know, I can do things on that phone right there, bro, that probably people that have been out here before I got incarcerated can't do, because I understand the value of it, bro.
Yeah.
We need to utilize the tools and the gifts and the talents and the relationships that God has given us to further the movement, not destroy it, homie.
Yeah.
Not destroy it, because let's be real. Sometimes we're our own worst enemy, homie. Sometimes we're our own worst enemy, man. I remember when the homeboys used to sell CDs and cassettes out the trunk.
Yeah.
But now you can push the button and be clear across the world, right?
Yeah.
Clear across the world. You can come right here to GT Digital, give them your USB, and in 2 weeks be on every music
Put you
platform
all
around
over
the
the place.
planet, bro.
Yeah.
I'm on YouTube, TikTok, my album's on Instagram, my album's everywhere, bro. But there's people that have been out here that their music's not on there, you know?
Yeah.
And the reason why I bring that up is that you have to harness the power of relationships. You have to realize what's at your disposal, homie. If you're gonna be great, you have to be around great people. You have to be, man. And you
Yeah.
have to learn. You have to continuously learn. And my prayer for everybody is that you become successful in your own right. And that way, whoever you have in your sphere of influence, you bring them up
Yeah.
and you put them on solid ground. You know, that's what we're here for, homie. We're here to build. We're not here to destroy.
Yeah.
It's just that we get this particular mindset and we get lost along the way, homie. You
Yeah.
know, I thank God that I'm alive. I cherish every second that I got, bro. A bottle of water, I cherish it because I remember there was days when I was in that prison cell where they cut the water off for 2 or 3 weeks, and they'd bring me 3 cups of water a day, homie. And sometimes they forget to bring it to me, but the homeboy down the run, because his sink works, my door was so low, he put it in just so I can get a drink of water inside a toothpaste tube, bro. So I cherish it, man. I understand the value of it, homie.
Yeah.
You know, it's a big difference, man. God gives you that ability to see things for what they truly are. He says that He'll remove the veil from our eyes, homie. Either you're living for the truth, which is what I refer to as absolute truth, like hot and cold, front and back, the truth and the lie. You know, I live in the absolute realm. And if we don't value life, homie, we're just existing. We're not even truly living.
Yeah.
You know, like Drake said, you know, you can die or you can live, homie. Which one is it, man?
Yeah.
Everybody dies, but not everybody lives. That was
Everybody
his verse.
lives. Yeah.
You know, everybody dies, but not everybody lives. And when you've gone through it, homie, it's like talking to a homeless man that finally gets an opportunity that had always wanted an opportunity. You know, he cherishes his little space, bro. And it's the same thing when you eat. I remember I came home, man, and I went to a couple of restaurants, bro. And I was telling my wife, I was like, we went to La Giglia right there in River Oaks. We've been to Maggiano's, you know, brothers was taking me to different spots, man. And I was telling my wife, man, this food ain't all that, man. You know, I'd rather eat a Roman noodle soup with some
Yeah.
sardines and some Fritos, right? But then I had to check myself because I had programmed myself, homie. I had to remember, you know, that hey, no, man, this ain't this is what God has for you right now in
Yeah.
abundance. So enjoy it. You know, so now, man, you know, I get the most expensive steak on the menu.
Yeah. Man, see, you said two things that I can relate to. You mentioned about surrounding yourself with people to, empower and whatnot. And I with my situation, I felt like I was going in circles, right? And then when it came to the point, like I told you, I tried to get that job and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put all this on hold and I'm just gonna get a job, make sure me and my mom are straight, yada yada. I applied for that job like on a Monday. And on the same week, on a Wednesday, here comes Garza, GT Garza. Hey, bro, meet me up at GT Digital. We got something I want to talk to you about. So I was like, man, okay, cool. Surround myself with, with Garza, Gold Toes. I'm no longer going in circles. It feels as if everything's going his right way. So again, it to that, yeah, I was able to relate on that. Shit, I lost the other one. Right now, you were just saying.
Let me say something, man. There's three type of people in this world, bro. You have those that think about doing something, those that talk about doing something, and those that actually do it. The brother that I got sitting in here with me tonight, the brother did 10 years in prison for murder. Was in prison putting in work. Came home, he's a multimillionaire now, homie. When we pull up somewhere, they think we're dope boys or they think we some big old superstars, but we're just men of God. But God has been able to provide in a major way. You know, so when you surround yourself by the right people, those blessings they're gonna come, homie. You just have to be a good steward of them. Because if you're not a good steward of them, it just comes and goes. It's just
Yeah.
gonna be a season in your life. And I feel that God has you in a position right now, right? Not only to entertain, but to also educate and empower. And it's real important that you walk in it, and the blessings are already here. There's people that have podcasts for years, bro, and don't have the access to the people that you have access to. And the Bible tells me that any door that God opens, no man can shut. So you have to understand the value of it. And you take it for what it's worth. And you build and you run. You know, look at some of the podcasts that are on right now
Yeah.
that have gained traction around the country, around the world, bro. So you got to understand the power of words. You know, the Bible tells us that we have the power of life and death at the tip of the tongue. You have that ability to bring forth life. That's why me, if you ain't got nothing positive to say, I'm not gonna entertain you. I mean, to me, that's child's play. You know, if you ain't got nothing, if you don't have nothing good to say about anything or anybody, I don't entertain it because it serves no purpose, homie. Negativity don't need me.
Yeah.
Misery don't need you. There's enough of that going on in the world, man. So, my advice to you as a brother, as a fellow podcaster, is continue to do what you're doing, homie, but always build the people up. Always build the people up, man. And don't entertain the naysayers, because some people for cloud, they entertain controversy, or some people for more views or more subscribers.
Clickbait.
Yeah, they get caught up in the nonsense, homie. They get caught up in the nonsense, man. Like, a lot of people, they'll ask me, hey man, well, what do you think about this person, that situation? I don't speak on that, because for
Yeah.
30 years in prison, if you spoke up on another individual, then they got up on you. You had to deal with that. But out here in the free world, it's not like that anymore, man. The whole world is a soap opera. But the people that I roll with, the people in my family, the people within my sphere of influence, I always let them know, man, we stick to the script. You're going to stay positive. You're going to stay productive. And it's all about progress, And that's it, homie. I mean,
Yeah.
bro, you know, it breaks my heart that we got all this stuff at our disposal, right? But we don't utilize it for the overall good to where we take it to the next level. It seems like when I came home, it seems like we're still trying to figure this out. Bro, there's no room, there's no time to try to figure it out anymore. It is what it is. You have this component, all the pieces to the puzzle are there. The machine is moving. So either you get with the program or you get lost in the
Left
fray.
behind. Yeah.
You get left behind, homie. And you know, I see what's going on in Houston right now with the Latino rappers. I see D Baby, I see Peso Peso, I see Little Mexico, I see Brick, I see OT the Mexican, I see all these young brothers, man. That boy T, GT Garza, man. Do you see what they're dealing with right now, bro? You understand what's going on right now? The troops are mobilizing, bro.
Yeah.
They're at the forefront, And my prayer to all them young brothers is take it and run with it, but do it in a way, man, that you do it in a manner that's so professional and so pristine that they have no choice, man, but to deal with what they have to deal with, because they're already bringing it. This is what I love about Houston, man. We have the culture, right? We created our own culture. Swangers, Drank, Purple J. We got all the components, homie. You got it. Run with it,
Yeah.
And they're doing it, man. And it makes me proud. One of the things I got, though, with some of the artists, man, is that, as a having that triple OG status in the game is like the brothers that I seen putting in music in the beginning, they didn't have all these guns in the video. They didn't have guns pointed at everybody. They didn't have all these guns. They didn't have all these drugs, and they didn't have all this stuff. And I understand it's part of what's going on in this season, but we have to remember, bro, that we have the ability to influence people, And if you're gonna make classic, timeless music, from my perspective, and a professional opinion and a personal opinion, is to put out music with a message.
With a message.
You listen to music like Dear Mama. You listen to stuff like that, bro, and can't nobody mimic it,
Yeah.
because of the wordplay, and you go back and you listen to this type of stuff, and you're like, wow, man, these are classics, timeless classics, and I move through these circles with entertainers and artists and stuff, man, because I think everybody needs a pastor, they need a spiritual leader, they need somebody that they can pray with or talk to, and that's why I'm here. That's why God put me in these circles, right? And you'll be surprised. I get calls at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, man. God has opened that door for me to minister and fellowship with some of these brothers. And my message is always going to be the same, man. I understand, but let the music speak for itself. Don't let the props speak for you. Don't let them overshadow you. Don't have $5 million worth of cars and $1 million worth of chains, but the music is not resonating with the people's heart. Because you want your fans to be with you for the entirety of your career.
Yeah.
And we have to take it for what it's worth, bro.
Man, I remember, now that you're saying this, I remember I sat down with Big C's from Hate Approve, and I was telling him, I asked him why he decided to go the Christian way with hip hop, and he told me that. He's like, bro, he said he was at a car show one year. He said 3 guys came up to us, you know, he's like nerdy looking guys. They bought our CD, whatever. It's like by 3 years later, these guys are all completely different. You know what I'm saying? Got Loke's on, tatted up. And he's like, and I was like, okay, our music is influencing them. You know what I mean? He said, then about 10 years later, I see one of them and I said, hey man, where's so and so? He's like, well, so and so is locked up and so got shot up. And he said that's when it clicked on him, like, bro, I'm being influential, but in the wrong way.
You can be influential in a classy way. I mean, they make gangster movies all day long in Hollywood. And sometimes the rappers are just the reporters of what's going on in their community or reporting what they've been through on a personal level, right? But I'm talking about being responsible with what you got,
Yeah,
being responsible with it, man. And some people don't know how to gauge that power. It's called
yeah,
power under control. And if you have 1 million followers, 100,000 listeners, and you have the ability to shift the dynamic when it comes to their mental state, you know, I mean, it is what it is. Don't get me wrong, and I understand it, bro. I understand that dynamic because I lived it. And I understand it, and but you have to reach a certain professional standard to say, okay, you know what? I know how to turn it off. It's like I'm gonna bring Young Easy back up. You know, I'll talk to him and I'll be like, "What's up, bro? What you doing?" He's, I'm on my primary job. I'm a father right now. I'm just with the kids reading banana splits, and I'm finna take my girl to a movie. So he knows how to turn the switch on, and he
yeah,
knows how to turn it off. They're not hitting no producers in Hollywood with no Rico acts, but they'll hit you and me if we're rappers and we're promoting all. You know what I mean? And and for the ones that they're not indicting that we know are doing dirt, then there's other components attached to
yeah,
that type of stuff, right? But it's it's just amazing, J Vaz, that we have this type of influence at the click of a button, and we're not using it for what it needs to be
for
used
the
for.
right thing.
I
Yeah,
mean, and I mean, look at Bun B. One of my favorite songs growing up was that Pocket Full of Stones. He talked about selling crack, and now he's selling Trill burgers. You know what I'm saying?
Trailbirds.
He's sitting down having lunch with the mayor of Houston, bro.
Yeah,
And everybody in the game still respects him because they know, man.
yeah,
He switched it up. You just go through stages, and you go through phases, homie. If you sign $1 million deal, get your money invested in some real estate, invested in some other the franchise or whatever it is that you want to do, but flip that money. You know, there's a lot of people that they get these checks and they don't know what to do with them. That's what I talk about financial literacy. We lack that in our inner city communities. So the people that we roll with, like Manic and Shadow and all them, we sit down like, what do you think we should do? So I said, well, we got a financial literacy program at this church right here. So all your people that you got running the business side of things, send them over there, homie. They ain't got to pay nothing. We already took care of everything. Because it's real important that we take the things that God has given us and we build on it. We build. There shouldn't be no reason why, with the access that we have, that none of us shouldn't be able to bring something to the table to make our situations better for each other.
yeah. Um, if there's anything from your past, bro, that you could change, what would that be?
I would have stayed in school. I would have stayed in school. Like you got these guys out here, man, OG this, OG that, OG this, But if you go to prison, man, all the real gangsters, they're sitting back reading. They're reading, bro. They're studying. All of them. How do you think they continue to propagate and promote and control and organize? Because they're reading. They learning, man. And I would have stayed in school. You know, I, I think that education, as Latinos, me and you, we have the highest dropout rate, you know. And I think that we need to understand the importance of education. The old school way was, Mijo, I want you to become a lawyer. Mijo, I
Yeah,
want you to become a doctor. But now you don't have to do that. Now you have opportunities and access to be anything in the world that you want to be. But you have to understand your value. You have to understand that if you're doing something right now and it's not working, you're not gaining monetarily, then you might need to move around.
yeah,
You know,
readjust.
yeah, like I talk to some of the guys in the rap game and I tell them, I say, look, bro, get on that plane and go to other states. Get on that plane and go to other cities. Just because you drop an album, you post it, and you're operating in the city, that don't mean you're gonna get rich overnight.
Yeah.
You gotta put the work in. You gotta put the work in, homie. In order to reap the benefits, you have to put the work in. And a lot of people don't want to do that, but then they see the next man that's successful and they try to tear him down instead of build him up, you know. So we have a personal responsibility. That's why I talk about education all the time. Use your platform to educate because there's people that got a million questions and they don't have answers for it. But you got Google at the tip of your fingers. And I was talking to Charleston the other day from Exotic Pop, and he used to tell me, man, Google became my best friend. If I didn't know it, I'd hit the button, and then I'd read it, but then I'd go find out for myself. It was his own teaching method on how he taught himself. And some people, they have to learn through trial and error. But if it's not working for you right now, you may have to check yourself and venture off into another direction. You may have to,
Yeah.
but don't be afraid. Don't let fear paralyze you. Don't get segmented by the naysayers because people are gonna tell you, "Oh man, that ain't shit." Excuse my language, man. That ain't shit. That ain't nothing. You can't ever achieve that. You'll never amount to nothing. Or you'll never be able to make any money doing a podcast, or you'll never be able to make $1 million rapping, or whatever the case may be. Writing a book, working at the refineries, being a truck driver. You'll never be able to get your CDL. You'll never be able to learn how to paint a house, or whatever the case may be. But it's all noise. It's all static. But me, I'm living proof, homie. I grew up on the streets. I dropped out of school in the 6th grade. I work for the mayor of Houston now, homie. Got my own little office space. I got TV, computer screens, all that, bro. And I'm still learning. I'm not afraid to learn, homie, but I'm here to tell you and everybody else that feels like there's no way out or feels like there's no path for them to get where they want to be in life, that's a lie, homie. But the graveyard is the richest place on the planet because most people die before they ever live out their God-given potential. They go to their grave with their dreams and their ambitions, and they harbor this hate and animosity for other people that have become successful. I'm gonna learn from them, homie. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take the time to learn from them, and that's what we all have to do. Yeah, the entertainment is cool. Yeah, you have to find it. There's a time and a space for all things. Entertainment is cool. Enlightenment is cool. Education is cool. It's how you package it. And I think that me and you, as two grown men, and I would consider you very successful with your platform and
Thank you.
successful in terms of life because of the adversity that you've overcome. But I think that we can both agree that we've lost a lot.
Yeah.
We've lost a lot, man, as a people, as a collective. And I think that the unnecessary death, the unnecessary drama, I think the unnecessary adversity, all this stuff that's plaguing us, that's holding us back, I think that as two grown men, we can agree that it needs to stop. It needs to stop, and we need to start focusing on building and not destroying. We need to start being part of the solutions and not the problems.
I rock with that, man. For anybody watching, man, where can they find you on all social media platforms?
You can find me on G Code with Sambo on Instagram. You can find me on TikTok, G Code with Sambo. You can find me on YouTube, G Code with Sambo.
I need to follow you on TikTok. Also, G Code Manifesto available on all streaming services. Make sure you guys check that out. You said there's more dropping pretty soon.
Oh yeah, we dropping the documentary. We dropping the videos. We're dropping. It's all coming. All the visuals now.
Yeah.
We're doing all the visuals. Manic Media and Frank over there at Compound Films, they've been a gift. Even Gotos, he's opened several doors for me as well. Brothers like you. Nobody has told me no.
Yeah.
I can give you a list of names, from pastors to city council members to, clergy to educators. Nobody has told me no, and I thank God for that favor, for opening them doors. So, we're trying to get this documentary done so we can take it to Netflix or Hulu or whatever the case may be and turn it into a series. We want to turn it into a five-part series. Not just the gangster aspect, but the redemption part of my story as well.
Yeah, for sure, man. And I'm sure it's something that, again, is going to help a lot of people because, it gives you that hope. You know what I mean? Like it can't be done. I can't get out of this and change my life around. Man, I appreciate you making time for us, bro. It was a dope conversation for myself. And again, make sure you guys check out G Code Manifest.
The G Code Manifesto.
G Code Manifesto available on all streaming services. And then check out the G Code podcast as well. And man, Sambo, appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you making time for us. And once again, make sure you hit the subscribe button, the like button, and then follow the man himself. And we'll have all the links to his podcast and to his social media on the description of the video, description of the podcast. I'm Jay Vaz, and you're watching Texas Underground. Let's go.